Alright, let's talk about the next movie. Alright, so this one is called Eegah. This is it's an old movie, and I honestly think it has a bit of a bad reputation. It's clearly a very cheap movie, but I actually didn't think it was super bad. It's bad. Sure, it's bad, but I've seen this on some, like, top 10 lists of worst movies ever, and it's just, I just don't think it's that horrible. It's just, I mean, there's some really bad acting, particularly one of the central characters has the most just jarring, horrible voice. But other than that, it's really cliched and not really well done. But it's not painful to sit through. It's just obviously an old cheap B movie. Uh, so this movie, Eegah, is about more or less like a caveman who has somehow survived for a ridiculously long time, played by Richard Kiel, who played like Jaws. He only recently passed away. Uh, Jaws in the James Bond movies, not the shark. It's not a shark caveman. Might have been a better movie. Anyway, so the creature's called Eegah because that's the noise he makes. So it's kind of like the same logic behind Pokemon, like Pikachu's and whatnot. Anyway, he sort of, all right. So there's a scientist guy who his daughter claims to have seen a giant out on the road after seeing a giant out on the road, and they find a footprint. So he's convinced that this is actually a thing. So he goes out to find it, and basically he has a helicopter drop him off in the middle of the desert to find this giant, and the giant finds him and knocks him out and basically captures him. And then the daughter and the annoyingly voiced tiny dude with the hair who sings a lot in this movie go out to find him. There's a lot of talk of dune buggies. There's some really bad voiceover that's made fun of a lot in the Mystery Science Theater 3000 riff. Like, watch out for snakes is yelled from off screen, but from no one in particular.
Watch out for snakes.
Who said that?
Uh, and there's little things like that are classic, like, B movie aspects that aren't good, but it's hard to call them super bad. It's just sort of, it's like an iconic, this is the platonic ideal of an old B movie in a lot of ways. But, yeah, at one point there's this scene where, I don't remember the daughter's name in this, but she's kind of the protagonist, I guess. She convinces Eegah to shave, and then you have a shaved caveman, which is kind of odd, I guess. Uh, yeah, basically Eegah sort of imprints himself and is like obsessed with the daughter character and keeps chasing her around. Like, the interesting thing is the really annoying kid goes out there with his doom buggy and saves everybody, and they drive back into town, and basically, duh, you just drive away. You can't outrun your like vehicle. But then he keeps following them, and then shows up at a pool party, and generally just wrecks stuff. He's kind of like that person you don't want to invite to a pool party, being a giant caveman and all. And in sort of anticlimactic way, is shot dead by police, I guess. I guess it was police. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward plot. It's not super slow, but there's a lot of weird, like, details and things that aren't great. Certainly not well shot. The opening credits are just horribly cheap. They're hard to even describe. It looks like they just sort of, like, colored on rocks or something. Uh, None of the performances really stand out as good or super bad, apart from that one annoying hero character. Uh, yeah, what else is there to say about this movie? I mean, I've watched it a number of times, and it's not that hard to sit through. There's just not a lot to say about it. There's a lot of Eegah, like him saying Eegah a lot. Uh, yeah, all of his family is all dead and stuff and skeletal up in his cave, and he seems to think they're still alive and stuff, and it's kind of strange. Hmm. There's got to be more to say about this movie, and I'm trying to think of things. Uh, yeah, this is sort of a classic Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's actually referenced in riffs and later episodes as well. Uh, it's a pretty fun episode. The movie on its own is like not the most boring thing I've seen, but not very interesting. Just because there's a lot of, like, I wonder if Eegah's here, and then Eegah jumps up as like, Eegah! And, yeah, whatever. Lots of dune buggy action, lots of desert, lots of bad singing, a bunch of pool parties. Yeah, that's about all for Eegah then. It is still in the bottom 100, which I'm kind of surprised, I guess. I think a lot of people just hate this movie more than it should be hated. Just to accept it for what it is, you know, it is a creature of its time, much like Eegah himself.
From ancient Genesis to the modern screen, is the name written in blood. Eegah!
If I could just call you on the phone. The code of the ghost has the sign of the toad. Nobody lives on the Brownsville Road.
Thrill to the newest recording star, R12 Jr.
Oh, they scream in this way.
See ravishing Marilyn Manning in a thrilling, chilling story. The last of the prehistoric giants sees his first girl.
Noah.
Curious newsmen search deep in giant country for the last of the ancient cavemen. See a tough giant tamed by the soft hands of his captive woman. See him sacrifice his ageless beard for her love. Then lose her to a boy in a dune buggy, escaping a burning desert. Eegah's primitive passion was love or kill. Hear Eegah talk, the ancient language of love, used at the beginning of time. See Eegah!